isolated communities were snowed in for their 4th day in a row. In Blessington, the Gardaí called in the Army helicopters to deliver locally prepared food parcels to cut-off mountainy areas. With deliveries of dried milk, tea and sugar, they flew out over half-frozen lakes, huddled groups of livestock, roads blocked with snow and abandoned cars. They dropped supplies this afternoon at the Wicklow villages of Lacken, Capure and Ballyknocken, where the locals gave them a relieved welcome. We've just got in here to Ballyknocken in the Wicklow Hills, where they've been snowed in since last Friday without food. In fact, they just got their first supplies of food dropped in here now by the Army helicopter. It's a village of about 200 people. It's been difficult enough to survive. And we're just going to talk here to Mrs. Una O'Donovan, who has been trying to survive with a small family. What about food? What were you lacking here?
Well, bread mostly and milk.
Yeah.
Primary things. Luckily enough, had a few supplies in the press which hadn't been used for a while, so we used up those.
Well, if the Army hadn't come in here now this afternoon, what were you going to have to do?
Well, we have no meat and no bread. I had baked some yesterday, all right, but other than that...
Had it got to the stage that they were hungry?
Just today, I'd say we're at the last, at the very last.
So what's in those food parcels now?
Well, I believe there are rashers and sausages and dried milk.
And how long will that keep you going?
Well, I reckon about 4 days.
The livestock isn't too bad. I had some fodder and stuff on the side for them. But it was the food stuffs that was really running short. All the people were really complaining today about no food. Yeah. So we had to ring up and try and get in supplies.
But you haven't lost any sheep or anything like that?
No, not as yet, no.
Yeah. Of course, you're also a publican. Do they find a bit of comfort in the pub?
Ah, they do, yes.
do the sales go up?
The sales have jumped tremendous.
You're an architect. You work in Dublin, but you've been snowed in here since Friday. Do you think it should have taken that long before anything was done?
No. The County Council only gave, I believe, the clearance to bring in private contractors to clear the roads at 3 o'clock yesterday. That was Sunday.
Yeah.
That could have, in fact, have been done on Saturday morning.
Even with the blizzards on Saturday as well?
There were no blizzards around here on Saturday. It was a daylight today. It was a bright day and there was no snow.
Well, how near did they get? I mean, did you have problems with funerals or anything like that?
The next village to us, Vallymount, which is about 2.5 miles away, the road was cleared into that to get a funeral out yesterday, and that was done by a private contractor who was brought in by the people who were arranging the funeral. But the County Council didn't do that, and the road clearance is stopped in Vallymount.
Yeah. Why didn't they do it, do you think?
They said they'd no money.
Ms. McAvoy, you're the local officer here for the Red Cross.
Yes. Yeah.
What have you been able to do for old people?
We have been able to do very little unless visit them when the blizzard went over, and there are a few old people here. One in particular, 89 years of age, which I'm only after coming from today. And I was on to the doctor this morning, and he's not that good. And we couldn't need doctor at any time. There are a lot of old people around about.
So you haven't been able to get a doctor into this press?
Well, it wasn't really necessary, but at the moment. But if it was, he would have had to be lifted out. Yeah. Also, I was on to the county council, the overseer, as late as last night, and he said he had bulldozers, but he had got no authority from the engineers. And I put it to him that the government had made a statement that they were to put whatever they wanted on. And he said he was putting them on today on the Vallymount Road, which I think there's one on it at the moment.
Do people here feel angry at the fact that nothing was done for so long?
I would say they do, yeah. At this stage, the first day or two, I suppose, was a bit of a novelty, but at this stage, I'd say, yeah.
So how long will places like Ballyknocken be left out in the cold? Must they wait until the thaw comes? And has the process of re-establishing contact with cut-off communities been any more efficient or prompt in other parts of the Wicklow Hills? Joe Little reports.
We're now approaching the Turlough Hill generating station, where the ESB want this Army Air Corps helicopter to examine the upper lake, where there seems to be some freezing around the pipes, which of course will stop the generating station from operating if it cannot be cleared. The only way of looking at these pipes is from this helicopter.
Turlough Hill control, Turlough Hill
Dr. Liddy, what was the condition of the patient you just visited?
He was very poor, but I've been attending him for a while and I was able to bring what I needed to get him fixed up a bit better, and hopefully when the weather is a bit better in a few days I'll be able to see him again.
How physically isolated was he?
Well, the only way we could have got to him was by helicopter. There was no other way possible to get to him.
And there was nobody in the house who could help him?
There's an old lady in the house with him, but she is partially disabled with a stroke, which he had some years ago. So the two of them were there on their own. It's great to be able to get to avail of this service to go and see people. The only thing is not to abuse it while it's there and available.
I'd say since the introduction of helicopters in 1963, it's by far the busiest time, I'd say, in the last few days, and I'd say in the next few weeks, maybe even for that matter, we'll be very busy. It's probably the first time that most people realise that there is an air corps, you know, that we do something.
Down here, okay? Okay,